you're a kid, there are sometimes toys that you really, really want to have, but never ever get. I remember the next door neighbour I had when I was a kid, a guy called James. He had a toy. He had lots of Masters of the Universe toys, and there was one particular toy that I always wanted, and really just never got. I played with it for years and years and years round at his gaff. I really wanted my parents to just fork out there however much it was back then just to buy this figure, and sadly I'm guessing they could never find it because I never ever got to actually own this particular toy. And then 30 years later the chance comes up to own it, and I'm like, want mine, in a sort of laughably sort of way. And thank you Mr. Jai really for letting me have this guy and selling it to me, because without him I would be paying a lot more on the interwebs than I'm actually paying for this guy in reality. Have an eBay look for this guy, seriously, have an eBay look for Faker, and see how much. I mean, you can get him for sort of reasonable, sort of £40 and above, but it's expensive. And if you want a classic, a classic one, by which I mean a Generation 1 version of this guy, just forget it, because you might be able to get it in a half decent condition, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. Otherwise it's going to cost you not very much money in a terrible condition. Anyhow, yes, today we are looking at this guy. We're looking at Faker, a toy that got pretty much no love and no fiction ever, but because of that has a mystique surrounding him that I think a lot of fans like, and I particularly loved this guy as a kid because there's so much you could do with him, and yet nothing was done with him. We'll get the perfunctory stuff out of the way. That's the box he comes in. Obviously you'd have a Master of the Universe Classics thing there, which is in the box somewhere. There it is. So that goes across there, as we know. It's a box. We've seen them all before. We know what they're like. The important bit is on the back, in his little bio. And he says Faker, real name, not applicable. And here's where it deviates from the original, because it says originally built by Man at Arms to cover for He-Man when Prince Adam is needed. I'm guessing by that they mean the episode Disappearing Act, where Skeletor kidnaps Prince Adam, and but Man at Arms makes a Prince Adam robot in his stead. Sorry, not a Prince Adam robot, a He-Man robot in his stead, so that Skeletor will think that He-Man and Prince Adam aren't the same person. But I'm guessing it's that. Said Faker was abandoned in the Royal Junkyard after his first mission and salvaged by the evil warrior Triclops. At the request of Skeletor, Faker was reprogrammed to replace He-Man and convince the people of Eternia that He-Man had betrayed King Randor and turned to evil. There's one problem with that plan. He's blue! He was never blue in the show. Either the Skeletor version or the Man at Arms version. Now, when I was a kid, his bio was pretty much something like Skeletor wanted to create a He-Man clone and magically did so. Sadly, the clone was basically like Bizarro. It was perfect imperfect. Because that's who essentially Faker is anyway. He's Bizarro. He's to He-Man what Bizarro is to Superman. So Skeletor magically created a clone. Sadly, it came out like this. So you would never ever be fooled into thinking that this is He-Man. And so it just uses him as muscle. Basically, in the show he appeared for 2 seconds basically, and yeah, nothing happened really. Literally, let me set the scene for you. Skeletor thinks that He-Man is gone and decides, apropos of nothing, he literally goes, ha ha ha, I'm going to create an evil clone of He-Man for no reason whatsoever, but it sounds like a good idea in my head, and I have a mental condition, so I'm just gonna do it. So boom, there's this clone of He-Man. I'm gonna call him Faker. That was it. That was Faker's one and only appearance, and he got wasted pretty much straight away and was never seen again. Basically, He-Man threw him into the chasm at the side of Castle Grayskull. He fell down into the bottomless pit, and we never saw Faker again. It was one of those situations where you think Lou Scheimer said, look, Mattel have come to us and said, can we use this toy in the show? I suppose we can, but let's not put too much effort into it. And Mattel, being Mattel, said, Yeah, that'll do. His name was mentioned. That'll do. That's no problem really. We're happy we're selling toys. I think we're selling like a bajillion toys every week at this point, so I don't think they really cared. It wasn't a case of, you know, a Hasbro or a company like that coming in and saying, you didn't put our toy across very well. You didn't do it at all, in fact. They just said, yeah, that's fair enough. Now he was mentioned. People know he's out there. Good. Boom. There you go. In the comics, they made a bit more out of it. They did a little bit more with Faker, but again, not too much. And he was blue. He was just sent to destroy He-Man in his mini-comic, basically. Didn't really do much of anything. What can you do? That's the business of selling toys. They obviously felt that a repaint wasn't worth much fiction or putting much fiction into it. Where it's weird because obviously Bizarro with Superman been around for years and loads of stuff. They could have done something like that, but they may have been frightened of that. They may have been frightened of DC saying you basically copied my concept, even though the evil twin, evil doppelganger thing has been around in fiction like since the year dot. So who knows? But yeah, Faker didn't get to do much at all, and I don't even think he was in the 2002. They made a figure of him, but I don't think he did anything, or if they did, I've not known about it, which is a damn shame, I think, because there is so much you could do with this guy, with this character, but wasn't to be. The figure, however, is a different matter. In our heads, when we were kids, I am certain there are a million different play patterns that we as kids made with this guy in mind. That all involved him going after He-Man and trying to destroy him, or trying to convince people that he was under a spell and that's why he was blue, basically. How we explain the Skeletor armour is another matter, but I don't know. But anyway, this is Faker. This is the Masters of the Universe Classics version. Very, very much thank yous to Mr. J.D. for basically letting me have him. Because I'm paying peanuts for this guy. Seriously, I'm paying sort of nothing for this guy, practically, from what he's worth. So yeah, it's a great figure. It is obviously a retool and a repainted He-Man, and that's okay because they didn't often do that with their toys. They did it with parts, but they didn't actually just straight up repaint whole toys very much. So to get him to have this weird blue version of He-Man is very cool. And I guess that's what first attracted me to the toy in the first place, is the fact that he's this weird shade of electric blue that you don't see figures painted in. It's just weird, and especially to see He-Man painted like this. I'm surprised they didn't give him a little beard. But he has the ginger, sort of reddish ginger hair as well. Comes with two swords. It comes with an orange version of the power sword that you get with He-Man. And he comes with half a power sword that you get with He-Man and Skeletor. And can be used in conjunction with both. Although I'm guessing this one wouldn't have any weird powers or anything like that, because it's just a robotic duplicate. So yeah, like I say, standard He-Man figure. Does all the stuff that the He-Man figures does, and we'll go through that now. Obviously his arms go up and down, side to side, across and whatnot. He's got great elbow articulation. His wrists go around very, very nicely. His head goes round 360 and of course comes off, which I will do in a minute. When I take the armour off, because there's something very cool under the armour that I want to see. It's got an ab crunch and a back swivel, I don't know. His hips do go round. He's very tight because he's new, he's fresh out of the box. He was still in the box when I had him. The thigh, he goes up, he goes down, he goes to the side, he can do a Perceptor kick. His knee goes, it does bend at the knee there. He's got the boot cut, so his leg can go all the way around at the calf. And he's got ankles go forward and back, and they're on a rocker. They're the old style, so you can see them, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And his loincloth trunks and stuff, they are at the bottom cut out. So he has got a good range of leg motion, which is very, very nice. Now, as you will notice, because he's evil, Faker has Skeletor's armour on. He couldn't get the power armour off He-Man, the power vest off He-Man. So it's another of the imperfect things that Bizarro, that Faker has going on. There is something very cool under it. Now I do like the fact that it's orange. Again, it's this sort of, he's in negative almost. He's literally a negative version of He-Man, because he's got these sort of negative colour schemes going on, the blues and the orange and the eyes. The eyes are particularly cool because you won't be able to see it, but the four they've actually painted the eyes a little bit of a darker blue, so they're sort of ringed. He's got rings on his eyes, and he's got the little orange, reddy pupils. So he's almost a zombified version, but I'll show you his head does come off, pop, like so. And to do that, you can get his armour off. And under his armour is something very, very cool. Now, to get his armour off, you've got to go around the back and pull them off at the sides there, these two little straps. Like so. Now it just pulls off. I'm not going to show you until the last minute. And get your head back on so it doesn't look all freakish and Halloweeny. You know I said he was a robot, right? Well, he is a robot. You can tell that he's a robot because he's got a robot chest. He's got literally sort of a computer, old style computer tape chest, which is so cool. I think he's got the two little spools of cassette tape there and little gauges and things, just to show that he is a robot. He's an evil robot. He's not some sort of magical being. So that's really, really cool. I love that so much. Just a nice little touch that Mattel have put in there just to make it, you know, absolutely perfect, and that this guy is an evil robot twin of He-Man. I want to see more of this guy. I want more fiction involving this guy because he's an interesting character to me. I know he's not someone who's really interested that many people, but I think because I like Superman so much and because I know of a lot of Bizarro stories, I think it's got mileage. They could do so much with this guy that they just haven't bothered with before. But never mind. That's the way of the world. I give you Faker because he's really cool and everybody needs one of these in their lives, especially if you're a He-Man and the Masters of the Universe fan. If you don't know, you know, the lack of fiction, you know, if you don't know the character through the lack of fiction, then, you know, you really need to get up to speed on how cool this guy could be. And the fan art that is out for this guy, which is really, really cool. That's it for this week, though. I should be back next week with, what is it next week? Masters Joe, I think it is next time. I think we're back with a Joe review. I haven't honestly got a clue. In fact, I probably won't be doing it because I'm away next week, so it'll probably be the week after that I bring one out. So that'll be fun. That'll be interesting. So nothing next week. The week after, there will be a video. So take care of each other. Take care of yourselves and each other. And I shall see you in a couple of weeks' time. Bye bye for now.